you are the future of horror. We want to see your new horror films and screenplays. So please send them to Shriekfest. This year's festival will be running in LA from October 1st through October 4th, and in Orlando on November 7th. So please mark your calendars now. Now we're going to do some trivia. You know, we do some great trivia, and we have some great prizes, really great prizes. So raise your hand if you know the answers to these questions. You're the smarty pants. You know your John Carpenter films and your Stephen King. So hopefully you'll know these answers. Some of these will be easy too. We'll start with an easy one. What was the last John Carpenter film to play at the Nuart? That hand right there.
The Thing.
The Thing is incorrect, although we did show that last year. I'll go with that hand.
Halloween?
Halloween is correct. Please come up. We love our John Carpenter here at the Nuart. We play John Carpenter films all the time. For you, we have a hardcover of The Essential Stephen King.
Oh.
Thank you. All right, so, okay, next question. Even though he's not here tonight, we did have one of the stars from Christine here for another Shriekfest Q&A in 2018. Can anybody tell me who the guest or the film was? Who did we have from Christine? That hand right there. I wish. I really wish. Anybody else? I'll give a clue. The movie was Friday the 13th Part 2. All the way in the back.
I know what you're talking about. It was that skinny guy.
Stu Charno, the skinny guy is correct. Please come up. Yeah, please come up. That's close enough. Yeah, Stu is really great. Him and Russell Todd came to our Shriekfest Presents screening of Friday the 13th Part 2. That was, he was a lot of fun.
I was that one.
Oh, you were there at that one too?
Now, right?
Oh, yeah. So for you, we have a shooting script for John Carpenter's Christine, written by Bill Phillips, signed by tonight's special guest, and written on it is, "You ain't mad, are ya?" Signed Moochie, Malcolm Danare. Hope you enjoy it. Yeah, we have some really good prizes. Who can give me the release date of Christine?
Oh, never mind. I still here.
Okay, the green shirt, yes.
Yeah, December 9th, 1983.
Please come up. December 9th, 1983. I do want to ask, who saw it first run? A few of you. I just missed it first run. I really wish, I saw Creepshow in the theater the year before, and it scared me so bad. I thought Stephen King was like the devil. I wouldn't even get close to Christine at that time. But then I would pick up his books in 1985, and then I was a diehard ever since. For you, we also have a signed shooting script for Christine, and this one says, "How do you like that, dick face?" Please enjoy. All right, let me see where my questions go. All right, okay, this is a more difficult question, but the prize is worth it. The prize is really worth it. And those of you who come to these screenings on a regular basis know if you follow the event page and you really look at that trivia, you have a good shot of knowing the answers to these, because most of them are put online well in advance. Christine was on the cover of which issue of Fangoria magazine? Right there on the aisle. 32 is correct. Oh my God, people usually never know the answer to the Fangoria question, even though I do it every time. Please come up. We have a really, really awesome gift for you. Original hardcover Christine. This is the book club edition. It is very well read. It's probably got some food stains and some old man boogers in there somewhere. Love it.
Thank you so much.
Hope you enjoy that. Okay. One more question. One more prize. This one's a little self-serving. Since we're talking about novels and adaptations tonight, some of you may know I'm also a horror novelist. Who can name one of my books? Right there. Turkey Day is correct. Please come up. And my third book, a sequel to Turkey Day, well, it should be released, I believe, in March. So keep an eye out for book number 3. And for you, we have my first novel, Hoarder. It's a real sick one. I love it. All right, so finally, we have a special guest tonight. I'm very excited. This was kind of last minute. We only announced this about a week ago. So, but we do have one of the stars from Christine tonight, Moochie from the movie. I'd like to welcome to the stage, not just Christine. He's been in so many incredible movies, including The Lords of Discipline, and Heaven Help Us, and Flashdance, and Popcorn, and so many more. And he's still going strong today. Malcolm Danare, please.
I've had my Geritol tonight, so I'm going to stay awake.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hello.
And before I get this started, I don't want to have any trouble with you at all tonight, so I'm just going to give you my lunch right now, my sack lunch. Please take it. Enjoy it, and keep it cold. There's yogurt in there. There really is
we don't
yogurt.
destroy it.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a few questions first, and then we'll open it up to the audience.
Absolutely.
Christine was definitely very early in your career, one of the first 3 films you had that was released. And I'm curious if you were really aware of the phenomenon of Stephen King, the juggernaut that he already was at that point. Had you read his work, or were you at all a fan of his?
Yeah, it was. What happened is I did a movie called The Lords of Discipline, which was my first film ever, and then I did Flashdance, but then I was offered a movie called Police Academy #1. And I thought, I read it and I thought it was really cool, but then I got another script called Christine. And my agents said, John Carpenter is directing, and I was like, oh my God, John Carpenter! And it was a Stephen King novel, and I said, I want to do it. I absolutely want to do this film. So what they did was, I was one of the first people cast in Christine. So what they were doing was this thing called mixing and matching. So they needed to, even though Buddy Repperton, which I think I have the better death scene. Who do you think has the better death scene, Buddy or Moochie?
Moochie.
So what happened is they were mixing and matching the bad guys. And I'll tell you who was really close to doing Buddy Repperton was Bill Forsythe. And it would have been interesting, but you can't beat Bill Ostrander. I mean, and I got to tell you another funny story. So this is last night. So I've been working on this new pilot, and I've been exhausted this week. And I get a phone call from Bill Ostrander saying, and he took a picture of, it says Moochie, Midnight Moochie? Midnight Moochie. And Bill said, well, why aren't I there? And I was like, I'm sorry, Bill, Armando didn't ask you. So anyway, but I was very, I was very blessed to be in this incredible cult film called Christine.
I think it's definitely gone beyond cult film. I think this is a high-class movie. I don't see this as a B movie at all. This is something else entirely. And I think it definitely, on John Carpenter's films, it is one of the most elevated films he ever put out.
I absolutely agree. I agree. But I did like Starman. That's what
Elevated Carpenter, for
favorite
sure.
films. I love Starman.
He was really great in the early 80s.
Yeah, it really was.
So, as you already mentioned, you definitely have one of the great death scenes in this film. This film isn't full of death scenes, but the few that are there are really, he really goes for it, and they're really elaborate. And I just wanted to ask you how it was to go through your very physical death in this film.
Here's the thing. At the time, I weighed about 210. I was a lot bigger than I was, and I had a lot more hair anyway too. I didn't know that the death scene of Moochie was gonna take about 5 days, because it was so intricate, and they, you know, Carpenter knew exactly how to, what he wanted me to do. So when you watch the film tonight, it's really interesting, because you'll see me run out of an app, after the car starts to chase me, you'll see me run down an alleyway and then out into the street, and then the car comes like, you see the headlights right here above my head, and you hear me go, oh shit. But what happened was, when we were shooting that scene, I had to hit a certain mark, so the car would be right here. And we did it over and over. We had to have done it at least 50 times, and I could not hit this frickin' mark until I just said to Carpenter, can I just look down and look at the, so look real closely, because you'll see me coming out of this thing, and I go like this, and I look down. So that's a little secret thing there, you know. And then when we actually did, you know, the only time that there was a stunt person that was doing the Moochie stunt was when I jumped over the center divider, and that's a stunt man. And when you see Moochie jump over the fence and then he lands on his ass and that, but the rest of it is me. I mean, I did all the running. It was incredible. And here's the other bit of this death scene, what was really cool. So when I get caught in the loading dock, the car, you know, crunches through to cut me in half. And what happens is, there was a bulldozer on the other side of the wall, literally a bulldozer. So I'm standing like right here, and the wall is behind me, and there's a hole in between my legs, and there's this real thick wire cable that is attached to the bulldozer, and then it's going through my leg to the chassis of Christine, and they're literally pulling the bulldozer's pulling Christine towards me. So if that cable would have snapped, I wouldn't have kids today, or I probably would have been cut in half. So it's unbelievable what John Carpenter made me do.
That's gonna add a lot more suspense to watching the scene from now on. Prior to Christine, Carpenter did The Thing, which, you know, we love The Thing, and it's such a hit now, and yet it's baffling that upon its release it was so ignored and attacked by critics for being so graphic. And it seems like with Christine, Carpenter kind of got more critical acclaim again after The Thing, and yet there were a number of critics who really trashed this film in regards to its language. There's so much bad language in this movie that it really upsets people. And I thought that language was fucking funny. It cracks me up every time. But was that a problem for you reading the script, or to deliver at all, or was that
I like to say fuck and shit and prick and whatever I say in the movie. So, no, I have no problem with bad words at all. You know what I'm fucking saying?
We're a midnight audience. We can handle it.
Exactly.
Fuck yeah!
Fuck yeah!
Now, I do want to mention, this is not the only adaptation of a classic horror story that you were in the 1980s, because a few years after that, and I do want to mention this movie because
Don't you dare.
because it does have fans, and I would think a midnight following, and that is The Curse.
Yeah!
Woo! Okay, some of you like The Curse.
Oh, God. Connect the dots.
Which is, oddly enough, some of you also probably know that a new adaptation of that H.P. Lovecraft story, Color Out of Space, is released today, nationwide. And we're doing, as you saw the preview, we're doing a midnight screening of it on Valentine's Day. And I have seen it. It kicks ass. definitely try and come out. It's definitely an audience midnight movie, very trippy. You don't have to take anything. You're gonna feel like you're
I'll
on a
come
massive
watch it
trip.
then. I'll come.
Watching that one.
Yeah.
But in that particular film, The Curse, unlike Christine, you had to deal with a lot of special effects and makeup effects and stunt scenes. He's attacked by a possessed horse and possessed chickens and possessed mom, and it just goes on and on. You really are put through the ringer in that. How was that as difficult as it looked?
I hated doing that film. No, here's the thing. What was really interesting about that was Will Wheaton had just come off of Stand By Me, and I, was gonna get to play the bully brother and the mean brother and stuff, and I really liked Will Wheaton, and I wanted to work with Claude Akins, who played my dad in it, who was awesome. I mean, Claude Akins was the nicest guy, but the director of the film was David Keith. And David Keith and I did a movie many years before that called The Lords of Discipline. So David Keith really didn't like me. He actually did not like me. But he knew that I was a good actor. And he put me in the film to really put me through a lot of shit during the filming of that. But
There was an actual literal shit fight in the movie.
Yeah,
You were
it's
involved in as well.
But but thank you for bringing that film up.
It does have its fans, and I think it would work as a really fun midnight movie.
Okay.
Hashtag goals.
Yeah. That's it.
Now, before we open this up to the audience, I want to ask Moochie a couple of questions. So I have definitely a few questions from Moochie himself. Why didn't you like Arnie? You were so mean to Arnie. What was up with Arnie? Why did he get ribbed so much by you guys?
We're bullies, and that's the way it was written in the script. I'm not a bully. I'm a really nice guy. So here's another. So it was in the shop when the yogurt stuff. John Carpenter says to Stephen Tash and myself in the rehearsals, I want you to be really mean to Keith Gordon in the rehearsals. And I was like, that's great, I'll be mean, So during the rehearsals, Stephen and I are doing really horrible things to Keith Gordon. And Keith Gordon, I could tell, was getting really pissed off. So after the rehearsal, and we knew we were gonna shoot the scene, I see Keith go over to John Carpenter and he's like, it's like, all right, well, what's going on there? So Carpenter comes over and he goes, Malcolm, Keith really doesn't like the fact that you're, being mean to him and you're doing this. He goes, I want you to do it a lot more. So it was very, Carpenter he's a great director. I mean, here's the thing about Carpenter. He is a visual director, not an actor's director. So, I'm very honored to have been in a John Carpenter film,
It's definitely has some of the best performances from the whole cast of any John Carpenter film, I feel like.
It was great. I can't complain. It's the movie that just goes on and on and on and on and on.
One more quick question from Moochie. In that shop, when you guys were doing your bullying early in the piece, when you grabbed Dennis by the balls, did you squeeze him really hard again and again and again?
Well, what are you asking me, Armando? Do you really want to get personal?
Our audience wants to know.
You know what? It was Stockwell. John Stockwell was. What happened was he was wearing a cup. So when I grab him like this, you couldn't grab into the cup. So what they did was they stuffed his pants with socks. So there were a whole bunch of socks there, and I just, grabbed it, and, it's like, how do you like that, dick face? So.
Moving magic. Okay, love it. Now let's open it up to some audience questions. Yes, right over here.
Not that often does it actually occur to me after I watch a movie that I'd actually like to tell the actor how much I enjoyed the performance, but I remember a number of years ago randomly I watched this movie called Smart People, and I saw Ellen Page in it, and I thought she was so funny, and I was thinking I wish I could tell her that. And the next day I just randomly ran into her protest that she was speaking at, and I was like, the performance of Funny People was so funny and just really just incredibly amusing. But about 2 weeks ago, before I knew you were going to be here, I watched Help and Help Us again for the first time in a lot of years. And I remember just being so profoundly blown away by the fact that we're talking spoilers about Christine, so I'm just going to spoil her, I guess, a little bit.
Boom.
His character, he's being bullied. It's the reverse of how you are in Christine. He's being bullied by the system of the oppressive side of the Catholic school system.
Yeah.
And so he's sincerely saying, I don't want to be corporally punished. I don't want to be abused. Brother, I'm trying to do what you're asking me. I didn't do anything wrong. And I remember how just incredibly sincere your performance is and how really good it was. And I thought, wow, I wish I could tell him how much I enjoyed the performance. Like, I loved that movie growing up, and I hadn't watched it a long time. And then boom, like you announced it, and so here you are.
Aw, that's very nice of you. Thank you.
I remember watching it also just thinking, I wonder what it was like for you guys. Like, it's Kevin Dillon and Andrew McCarthy's like the main kid and everything. It's a beautiful movie for people who haven't seen it.
It's one of my favorite. Well, look, your first film that you ever do is really your favorite. So Lords of Discipline is my favorite, but Heaven Help Us, or at the time it was called Catholic Boys. So the actual title was Catholic Boys, but the Catholic Church stopped it from being called Catholic Boys. So in Europe, in the United Kingdom, it was Catholic Boys. So out here they call it Heaven Help Us, which is kind of a stupid title, but thank you. I really appreciate your comments. It's very nice of you.
That's nice to see you. Thanks. He's nice. He gave me a little pound after I won the book.
Yay.
No, Malcolm is nice, and I do also recommend, we, as horror fans, from Christine or The Curse, we think of him as the bully, but Heaven Help Us, you will see another side, such a sympathetic side, and what a nice guy he can be, and it really is a moving film. I highly recommend you all check it out. They have it for rent next door. It's Cinephile Video, so definitely check it out. You got a question right there.
Okay, so I'm going to confess, I've actually never seen this movie. So I'm wondering, how would you rank this among your favorite John Carpenter movies?
I think it's his best movie ever because I'm in it. I love this film. I really do, and it's a tough film to watch, but it's also a really interesting film to watch, and you're gonna love. Look, the one great thing about this film, there wasn't anything called CGI yet. So when you see I don't want to ruin it for you, but there's a scene where the car kind of does some really magical stuff. That was all done where the film was. They shot it, but and you see. I'm gonna have to ruin it for you, all right? I'm sorry, but they pull the scene was done where they pull the car in, with a lot of chains and everything. So when they roll it backwards, it makes itself go like that. And it wasn't CGI. It was all frickin' done, with that's movie magic, And my hair was movie magic back then, too. I had a lot more hair then, too.
Any more questions? Yes, right up here.
So, in the script, there's a lot that's left out of each character. And when you read the book, there's a lot of intention behind what a character does. Did you read the book as soon as you got the audition, or when you got the role? Did you read the book before the script?
That's great. That's a great question.
How much did it help in developing your character?
You read the book and the Moochie character he's killed a very different way than what they do in the movie. But I just, for me, I go on a set, I learn the lines, and if I'm a bully, I'm a bully. If I'm a real sincere guy, I'm a sincere guy. So, reading the book was awesome because Stephen King wrote it, and you're like, oh my God, this is a Stephen King book, and I'm playing a character that he actually wrote, and that's another thing that's like, it blows your mind. So, I took a little from the book, but kind of did it myself,
Yeah, right over here. Yes.
Sorry to change the subject, but what part in Police Academy were you offered? Turning it down. Would you have done it if you could have done both these films?
Yeah, because they did about 24 of those. No, I wanted to do. I don't even remember what it was, but I was offered it because it was I don't remember what even studio did it, but
Warner.
Was it Warner?
Warner's.
Yeah, I was offered it, and then all of a sudden you get this beautiful film, and I get to meet all of you beautiful people. So I get to. I'm glad I did Christine better than Police Academy.
Yeah, right here.
Do you remember like the best moment that you had in the production of the film? Like what you had the most fun doing?
Yeah, John Carpenter was an incredible. He just pulls practical jokes like you can't believe. So I'm gonna try this one really quick. So the producer of the movie Richard Kobritz would drive to the set in this beautiful Porsche, and whenever he got out of the Porsche, he would put a car cover over it so it wouldn't get dusty or whatever. So John Carpenter let everybody on the set know that what he did was he got a Volkswagen, an old beat up Volkswagen. They moved Richard Kobritz's Porsche, took the same car cover, put the car cover over the beat up Volkswagen, and then rolled the bulldozer over it. We all knew what was going on, but Richard Kobritz, pottied his pants at that point. And it was but yeah, it was so fun. This was a really fun scene, a fun movie to do. So there's so many stories, but I don't want to keep you guys here till 5 in the morning watching the movie.
We'll do one more question. Is there any more questions?
Do you happen to know how many Christines were used?
Oh, that's a good question. I believe that there were 21 Christines. The reason I'm holding my camera is because I want to take a picture of everybody. In my presence, there was 1, 2. I think there were 4 Christines because we smashed the car to pieces in one scene, and that was another crazy scene because we all got injured doing that. Glasses flying and okay, watch this. There's a scene when I pick up this hammer when we start beating the shit out of the car. I'm the only idiot that didn't put gloves on. So when I hit the window of the car, all this glass went in between my hand and the handle, and you see me go like this, and all of a sudden I'm like, and we couldn't cut because there's like 6 cameras going, and you're like, oh my God. But what was the question? Anyway, I don't want you guys to stay here till 5 in the morning. I feel bad.
All right, well, I have one last quick question for you.
Yeah.
This might be one for Moochie as well. Was Moochie the one who defecated on the dashboard?
That film was shot. I mean, that was shot. We did that. If you get the Blu-ray or whatever it is, you see me. You don't see it coming out. but you see me taking a dump, and I'm going, you know, and I'm squeezing it out. But that's what it is.
Actually, in those deleted scenes, you also see Steve and Tash masturbate on the car.
Oh yeah.
Which is also really funny. Well, let's get a picture of our wonderful audience.
Hold on, I'm gonna do something.
Hold on. Let me do something here. Oh, this is awesome, you guys. Hold on, one more. Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Malcolm Danare for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
I hope if we play another one of your classics in the future, we can invite you back.
I would love that.
We'd love to have you here. I do want to also give a few special thanks out there to Coffee Depot, right across the street over here on Sawtell. They're the ones who do the printing of our posters and the screenplays that we give out during these. As for that first release Christine book, that's from Sideshow Books. They used to be our neighbors right here on Idaho as well. Now they moved over to La Cienega, but they're bigger and better than ever, and they even had new film screenings. So I want to thank Sideshow Books for providing us with those gifts, and Kevin Mangold for doing these screens, and I want to thank all of you for coming to our first Shriekfest Presents of 2020. Now let's go to the stage and let's watch Christine.
Have fun.